Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again for the final video, well, of a deck this week anyway. And today it's going to be Terra, Herald of Hope. And I still get this wrong because my camera's set up weirdly. I'm looking at this today because as I record this video, I've just been listening to the latest Command Zone podcast. They were talking about Terra's deck that's coming in the Final Fantasy set, which is from Final Fantasy VI apparently, which I never played, so I know very little about her. And they were saying it was a bit of a downside that there wasn't that many creatures that actually benefit from Terra's abilities. So I thought, let me see if I can do something about that. So here we go. Terra, Herald of Hope, is red, white and black for a 3/3 human wizard warrior. At the beginning of combat on our turn, we mill 2 cards, and then Terra gains flying until the end of turn. And then, whenever Terra deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2. Just 2 mana, any colour, generic, whatever. When you do, return target creature card with power of 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped. Yeah, I like decks like this that make you actually do some work to get the benefit of the payoff. Now, this one I'm going to go through today has come out of bracket 2, just so you're aware of it. So it's more of a casual fun deck than it is a competitive one, but I think the synergies in it are really good. So hopefully you'll enjoy this one. This is my take on it. I mean, to be fair, if it comes out of bracket 2, it's put at the same level as the Commander deck that's on its way. So, hey, you know what? By the time you see this, you'll be able to buy it tomorrow because they should be out in most of your stores. But anyway, enough of me talking about cards that are coming out. Let's have a look at the deck and get on with this video. The key thing to remember here is we're looking for creatures with power 3 or less in our graveyard. Now, it doesn't matter what the casting cost is, so bear that in mind, but it's power of 3 or less. So, we've gone with 35 creatures in the deck, which is quite a few. And start off with the traditional let's mill some cards as Stitcher Supplier. And then we have a Cursed Marauder to make people sacrifice non-token creatures, which, you know, can include you sacrificing the Cursed Marauder itself. Then we have Bannon, the Returner's Leader. Now, if you're looking at this deck on Moxfield, you might get an error message at the top. For some reason, Moxfield, as I record this video, hasn't got Bannon programmed in properly. But he's here. He probably comes from the Terra Herald of Hope Commander deck anyway. So once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature's card from among the cards in your graveyard to put there from the battlefield, anywhere other than the battlefield this turn. So anything you mill with Terra, you can then replay. And whenever you attack, you may pay 1 and discard a card, and you get to rummage, basically discard and draw. So it gets away filling your creatures in the graveyard. Coming back in from Foundations is Alicia, who laughs at fate. Whenever you release your attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and if you've attacked, you may return target creature card with mana value less than or equal to Alicia's power from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, you know, to start with, you're getting these back, but as soon as you get a +1/+1 counter on here, you're going up to the 3 level. Because we are looking at probably having our creatures killed off, and Anafenza, Unyielding Liege, made more sense to me in here than it has done elsewhere. Likewise, Animpakal, the 1000th Moon, does get targeted by Terra, but it gets bigger, and we get the Gnome Artifact creatures, which, you know, kind of helps. Broadside Bombardiers is next, just a way we can sacrifice off our creatures if we need to, and then deal some damage to something. Then we have all of them in. So all of the creatures that come into play and then make people sack things are here. So we've got Demon's Disciple, Fleshbag Marauder and Grave Lighter. They're all in to start with. Then we have Lalia, the Blade Reforged, because I just like playing this card. And if you don't want to do it, that's fine. The Exile doesn't really work with the deck, I'm aware of that. But she's just so good. She's worth having in the deck anyway. Another one that comes in from the Commander deck for Terra Herald of Hope is Lock, the Treasure Hunter, as I understand it. Can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, and whenever Lock attacks, each player mills a card. If a land is milled, you get a treasure, and until the end of the turn, you may cast a spell from among those cards that have been milled. So, yeah, right, we'll go with that. The other one is here, Merciless Executioner. And then we have Otek Metal Weaver. You're going to be casting creature spells. You might also get some more gnomes. Or, you know, create a token that's a copy of target artifact you control. You're not going to be doing that, but getting gnome tokens can help quite a lot. The other sack ones in, Playcrafter, they're here. And then we have another card coming in from the Commander deck, I believe. Shadow Mysterious Assassin. 2 and a black for a 3/3 with Death Touch. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice another non-land permanent. If you do, draw 2 cards and each opponent loses life equal to the mana value of the sacrificed permanent. Yeah, that's pretty good. Atomic, Wielder of Laws in, just to give us a little bit of protection. And a bit of card draw from people attacking us with more than one creature. Vile Smasher the Fierce just made some fun sense to me in here. Again, another card I like playing in black-red when I have the chance, so the Smasher's in. Bloodlet of Alcazotza is also in. If an opponent loses life during your turn, they lose twice that much life instead, and damage causes life loss, so, you know, pumps everything up quite significantly. Brutal Horde Chief also comes in. Whenever a creature you control attacks, defending player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Now, if you bring this back with Herald, you know, doesn't always quite work, but hopefully you can cast it and do it that way. Firemane Avenger I just like, another one of my pet cards from the past that I bring in occasionally. I just like this one for the 3 damage to target creature and gaining some life. Hugo, well, don't know why it came as Hugo, came up as the other one, but we're going to go with Bruised Tile Boorish Herder. That's the card I wanted to talk about. Enters or attacks, target creature you control gains double strike and lifelink until the end of turn. Nice one to bring back at some stage, or just cast and help yourself out a little bit more. Especially if you can put it on Terra and give them double strike and you've got 4 spare mana. Even better. Firemane, we did that one. Anyway, sorry, there we go. Back to here now. Luminous Broodmoth. Whenever a creature you control without flying dies, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it. This is nice because you bring this back, your creature dies, it comes back with a flying counter on it. Fine. It dies, goes to the graveyard. You can use Terra to bring it back again. Mini combo all the way around there. Mangara the Diplomat for the card draw. Muriel, Shield of Argive, to stop people casting things and activating abilities of creatures and enchantments and artifacts in our turn. And getting some soldier tokens is always useful. I'm playing black-red, so yeah, Prosper's here. Sorry if you don't like it, but I still have a thing for Prosper, so they're here today. Queen Marchesa, Death Touch Haste. Enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. So even if someone steals the Monarch off you and Queen Marchesa's in the graveyard, you get in with some damage with Terra, you're back in the game with the Monarchy. Rev Tithe Extractor makes its way in from Foundation's Jumpstart as well. Whenever you attack, target creature gains Death Touch until the end of turn. And whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to player, you get a treasure token and play the top card of their library because it's exiled. That's fine. Rose Cutthroat Raider comes in from Fallout because who doesn't like a good old junk token after we've attacked? Archangel of Thune, just chuck around some +1/+1 counters and the lifelink and a nice flying blocker. And then we have both leads in. The Balefire Liege pumps all our red and white creatures by +1/+1. So if it's a red-white creature, it gets +2/+2. Red spells basically deal 3 damage to target player, and white spells then gain you 3 life. Likewise, the Deathbringer Liege, white creatures get +1/+1, black creatures get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a white spell, tap a creature, and then cast a black spell, you may destroy target creature if it's tapped. Yeah, like a little bit of targeted removal. Guardian Scalelord, just for the backup and returning things from our graveyard. Ravos Soul Tender again, pumps all our creatures up and then brings back creatures from our graveyard to our hand at the beginning of our upkeep, which is nice. The final card, which I'll be surprised about, I didn't realise it was power of 3. Twin Flame Tyrant. Yeah, we like dealing damage. Twin Flame Tyrant helps us out immensely. 4 sorceries in the deck, nothing too major. Basically ways to mill our stuff and get things back. So we've got Liliana's Indignation. We've got the Funeral Rites. Be careful, we don't want to, we draw 2, lose 2, and put mill the top 2 cards of our library, so that's fine. Summon Undead, we mill 3, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. We have 5 mana, sorry, is not bad. And then the big one, Breach the Multiverse, had to be here just so we can have some fun in games. Only 1 instant, nothing major. Corpse Churn. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Fine. Ramp is very much where it's coming in with the artifacts. We've got the traditional suspend cards for Mox, Tantalite, Soul, Talisman, Amulets. A Vigor is key. Sorry, I forgot this was in the middle of the ramp stuff. It's key with this bit. When you do return target creature card with power 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped. Amulet Vigor takes care of it being tapped. It comes into play untapped, so you have a blocker. Elixir of Immortality is here just in case everything does go pear-shaped and we need to shuffle it all back in. Ghoul Caller's Bell lets everyone mill a card, which helps us out with Terra. Lava Spur Boots protects Terra. Soul Ring for ramp, Arcane Signet for ramp, Charcoal Dialer for ramp, Felwar Stone, because you're probably going to come against someone playing one of your 3 colours. I'll be amazed if you end up playing against 3 blue-green, blue or green, mono-blue, mono-green decks when you're playing this game. So this will give you at least one of your colours, I reckon, about 90% of the time. One of the other diamonds are here, Fire Diamond, Marble Diamond. And then we've got Mind Stone as well for some ramp. More of the boots, the Swiftfoot variety this time to protect Terra. Talismans of Conviction, Hierarchy, Indulgence for our ramp, and then Thought Vessel to make sure we get there. There's a lot of ramp, I'm aware of that, but we need to make sure we've always got the 2 mana to pay for Terror of Hope, as well as casting something else we need on the turn we go off. Enchantments to help out, there's just the 4. Bastion of Remembrance makes perfect sense to me, just so we can gain a life and make everyone lose one when our creatures die. Tavel's Judgment makes perfect sense as well, coming in from the Tarkia Dragonstorm commander sets, just because we're going to have cards leaving our graveyard. Treasures, draws, or tokens are never a bad thing to have. And then we have All Leaders Call, just to pump all our creatures up and then do a little bit of ping damage to each opponent when creatures enter under our control. And All Out Assault, creatures you control gain +1/+1 and have Death Touch. When this enchantment enters, if it's your main phase, there's additional combat phase after this phase, followed by an additional main phase. When you next attack this turn, untap each creature you control. Yeah, double combat's quite tricky, but you can work it out. Right. Lands, 37 of them. Everything you'd expect to have in a white, black, and a red deck. All the stack lands are here. All the Duskmourn lands are in with the ones from Aetherdrift. The shock lands are here. Literally everything, including Command Tower, Reliquary Tower, and somewhere down the bottom here, Temple of the False God, because I'm a little bit concerned that Terra costs 3 to start with, and getting her back out for the 2nd or 3rd time is going to get expensive. 2nd time 5, 3rd time 7. Yeah, you want to make sure you can build it up. I will just point out that I do like the Tainted lands, so Tainted Field and Tainted Peak. We will be controlling swamps at some stage, so these are quite nice. There's another way of getting dual lands on the cheap in the deck. And that's it. That's the last of the decks for this week. Terra's quite good fun. I'm looking forward to now picking this up, hopefully next week sometime, to start playing them. So, what have we got coming up? Please, sorry, let's do the rest of it. Is she strong? No. Am I going to have to upgrade her? Yes. Am I going to come back to her in the future to do an upgrade guide to get it up to maybe bracket 3, bracket 4? Yeah, at some stage I'll come back to it, but I'll give it a while and see how it goes. And it may be a few months, 6 months, that I come back and relook at Terra again if we get new toys for her. I really appreciate everybody who's subscribed recently. There's 688 as I record this video, if my memory serves correctly. So I really appreciate, and I'd like to say thank you to everybody who subscribed recently. I'm just checking on my studio app. Yeah, 688, I was right. So please, if you haven't been here before and you could hit the subscribe button, that would really help me out. Appreciate it. If you want to see me start playing the decks I've been talking about for the last 3 weeks now here on the YouTube channel, well, in theory they'll be out on MTGO next week. The first Tuesday we get when the new set's in, or the first Thursday, will be the draft night, depending on what I'm doing. And then the Thursday night of that week, if I've done the draft on the Tuesday, will be the first of the Commander nights. If not, there'll be the draft night, and the Commander stuff will start the following Sunday. But I'll get a quick post out at some stage here on YouTube so people know what's going on. Tomorrow, there's going to be a stream replay where I play my 2 most popular decks here on YouTube that I've ever had come up. And you can watch them tomorrow if you want to, so watch a bit of gameplay for a change instead of me talking about decks. But that's it for now. If you think there's anything I've missed out of Terra, Herald of Hope, let me know in the comments down below. Like I say many times now, I read them all, I try and respond to them all, and I do like the feedback I get on the decks and the videos. So please let me know. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Help me appease the YouTube algorithm. And I'll be back next week, still carrying on, talking about legends that I've turned into Commander decks from Final Fantasy. So for now, have a great one. See you soon. Bye.